We are coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios, and this is Prime News on SABC 3. And in your top stories at this hour.
He even promised me far more than that. Even now, when we were not having, there was nothing that was happening. You see, said, when I get this thing, I will retire.
First up, the Matlanga Commission wrapped up evidence of suspended acting EMPD police chief, Commissioner Julius Mkhwanazi, with an admission that he received payments from alleged cartel member Vusumuzi Cat Matlala.
The administration of justice has been brought into disrepute because it does appear that the administration of justice is incapable of bringing this case to trial.
The National Prosecuting Authority has requested the Pietermaritzburg High Court to order that former President Jacob Zuma's arms deal corruption trial proceed despite pending appeals.
We don't need to mobilize anyone. We're not wired that way as South Africa.
And South Africa will not be lobbying any sovereign state to boycott Sherpa meetings or the G20 Leaders Summit under the presidency of the United States of America. Good evening and welcome to Prime News on SABC 3. My name is Beki Mutumomolete and I'm pleased to be back with you this evening. Tonight we take a look at the major developments happening all over the globe, so stick with us as we get into our leads, and here they are. The Matlanga Commission wrapped up evidence of the suspended acting EMPD police chief, Commissioner Julius Mkhwanazi, with an admission that he received payments from alleged cartel member Vusumuzi Cat Matlala. It was also found that he reintroduced Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who was armed with a legislative framework and statistics in a bid to prove the rationale and power behind his decision to disband the Political Killings Task Team on the 31st of December 2024. Mchunu, who is on a leave of absence, is facing allegations that he disbanded the PKTT in order to shield criminal syndicates.
The cross-examination of suspended acting EMPD police chief Julius Mkhwanazi has revealed the possibility that 70,000 rand in payments from alleged cartel member Vusumuzi Cat Matlala to Mkhwanazi was an alleged gratification for the latter's act of quote-unquote facilitating the registration of Matlala's security vehicles under the city of Ekurhuleni's fleet, subsequently opening up the door for the alleged attainment of blue lights. Mkhwanazi, however, denies this.
Oh, it's not that. As I'm saying that, he even promised me far more than that. Even now, when we were not having, there was nothing that was happening. You see, said, when I get this thing, you will retire. I'm going to you will find another thing, business and everything. And I was very happy. In far more than that, you see. Even though it didn't specify, you see. And I even said, I was praying that to get those things. I was praying that to get that tender, you see, so that I can start my own and relax, as you see.
Meanwhile, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu returned to the witness box with legislation and statistics in a bid to show that his disbandment decision was above board. But the circumstances surrounding this event raised further questions from the bench.
On the 31st of December 2024, you surprise everybody within SABC, in particular the top management, with your decision of that day. And you do this having a very good working relationship with the National Commissioner of Police.
In addition, why was there such a rush to disband the PKTT immediately without input from the relevant warm bodies who could appropriately advise him, such as the National Commissioner?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a big rush. It merely was an exercise of the power to issue a directive which I could use and then have a discussion. I didn't see anything wrong with a decision.
The hearing continues. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
Next up, the National Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Shamila Batohi, has concluded her testimony at the Kabinde inquiry in Pretoria. The inquiry, which is probing Advocate Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office, will continue tomorrow morning when Chauke's counsel, Advocate Thembeka Ngcukaitobi, cross-examines Batohi's testimony.
After 2 weeks of grueling testimony before retired Justice Blessing Kabinde and panel members Matshego Ramagaga and Advocate Elizabeth Baloyi Mere, NPA head Advocate Shamila Batohi has wrapped up her testimony at the Kabinde inquiry. The inquiry was established by President Cyril Ramaphosa to probe the fitness of now suspended South Gauteng Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Andrew Chauke, to hold office. This follows concerns raised by Batohi over possible undue influence in Chauke's prosecutorial decisions in the Kato Manor Death Squad racketeering matter and in former crime intelligence boss Richard Mdluli's murder case.
The context within which I took office as the National Director, I was dealing with a period in the history of our country where we had allegations of state capture across government, including in the NPA. The Zondo Commission was doing its work, and there was a lot of information that suggested that people in the NPA were complicit in state capture.
During her testimony, Advocate Batohi faced tough questions from Justice Blessing Kabinde and panel over her decision to discipline Advocate Chauke for his prosecutorial discretion.
It is very important not to misrepresent facts to anyone, especially when you impute information to any presiding officer.
I agree with that, Chairperson.
It will be totally unacceptable for you to impute wrong information about me or about any of my colleagues sitting as panel members.
The inquiry continues tomorrow with Advocate Batohi to be cross-examined by Advocate Ngcukaitobi on behalf of Advocate Andrew Chauke. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
The National Prosecuting Authority has requested the Pietermaritzburg High Court to order that former President Jacob Zuma's arms deal corruption trial proceed despite pending appeals. The so-called Stop Stalingrad application comes amidst an application by Zuma and the French arms manufacturer Thales for leave to appeal Judge Nkosinathi Cili's earlier dismissal of the application for acquittal.
Outcome has been that the administration of justice has been brought into disrepute because it does appear that the administration of justice is incapable of bringing this case to trial. A way has to be found out of the conundrum caused by the Stalingrad tactic of delaying the case by interlocutory application after another on hopeless grounds, all dismissed, but all of them serve one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to delay the trial.
Every accused person, an accused person is a person who has not been convicted. If it was dealing with every convicted person, it would have said so. But once it says every accused person has a right to appeal, then it's talking about these two parties. And that constitutional right is sacrosanct. It is one where, my Lord, the only way your Lordship could limit that right is if there was a Section 36 limitation analysis. That has not been done by our learned friends. So that's the end.
The outgoing Secretary of ANC Greater Johannesburg Region, Sasabona Manganye, agrees with Party Secretary General Fikile Mbalula that factions should be dumped in the dustbin of history. Manganye is contesting the Secretary position for the third time against two other candidates at the 16th Regional Conference in Sandton, Johannesburg.
The SG is very correct. We cannot find ourselves associating ourselves with factional groupings that are at the end of the African National Congress. And I can tell you, Mbali, I have led this region since 2018, I have never been part of those factional politics because I believe they are wrong for the ANC, and I must lead by example. Not just to say, no, we don't want factionalism, but on the other side, you are part of factionalism. Of course, when we go to conference, you will have different lobby groups. It's allowed. Beyond conference, you must lead as a leadership collective. Lead everyone, including those that did not support you.
Welcome back to Prime News on 3. We continue with the following report. South Africa will not be lobbying any sovereign state to boycott Sherpa meetings or the G20 Leaders Summit under the presidency of the United States of America. President Cyril Ramaphosa says that South Africa will never look down on or treat other nations in a derogatory manner. His remarks come as Pretoria has faced an onslaught from Washington, souring diplomatic relations between South Africa and the United States of America to an all-time low.
On the golf course, where he was supposed to meet President Donald Trump during the G20 summit. But now their rivalry relates to who is the more mature leader between the two. Trump's administration has heeded his instruction of shutting South Africa out of all G20 events leading to the Leaders Summit in Miami next year. But Pretoria is not going to retaliate in a manner that is devoid of diplomatic decorum protocols. Ramaphosa says he will not engage with Trump in an undignified manner.
We don't need to mobilize anyone. We're not wired that way as South Africa. The country must take its own decisions, and we are who we are, and we don't really peddle our role in any shape or form. People or countries respect us for what we are, and they applauded our role in the G20 for the manner in which we ran and managed the G20. So as South Africa, we leave every country to make up its own mind with regard to all that is happening.
Wow! Samkele Masego, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Next up, Transport Minister Barbara Creecy has urged motorists and pedestrians to adhere to the rules of the road to help reduce road fatalities during this festive period. She was speaking at the launch of the festive season road safety campaign on the N14 and K46 road in Diepsloot in the north of Johannesburg. This comes ahead of the impending traffic rush as holidaymakers travel to various destinations for the festive season.
Traffic came to a complete standstill as traffic authorities and other law enforcers stopped and checked vehicles for roadworthiness and to ensure motorists and their vehicles have valid permits to be on the road. The Transport Minister says it is ready to ensure motorists obey and adhere to the rules of the road.
This is an area where there are a lot of pedestrian fatalities, and the major cause of pedestrian fatalities is people who are crossing main roads and highways not at a designated place for crossing.
Gauteng Premier Panyazali Sophie has urged the citizens not to drink and drive.
I want to urge all Gauteng people, we want to see them at the beginning of this year. So for them to come back to our province, they must take care and ensure that they drive safely, but most importantly, that they don't indulge in substances that will create problems.
Motorists who were stopped at this roadblock expressed mixed views.
It's only done during festive. It's never done regularly. We only see them. I mean, I drive this road every day. You understand? Like, this is the first time I've ever seen them here. So, I mean, a little bit more visibility would be appreciated.
Calvin Tlotla, SABC News, Johannesburg.
After the break, Deputy President Paul Mashatile says that it is too early to celebrate the cohesion of the government of national unity, as there are many pressing socio-economic challenges ahead. Thank you for staying with us. Deputy President Paul Mashatile says that it is too early to celebrate the cohesion of the government of national unity, as there are many pressing socio-economic challenges ahead. He was delivering his annual address to the National Council of Provinces.
The Deputy President made his closing address for the year in the NCOP. As he reflected on the government of national unity, he says the ability to pass the budget earlier this year, even with disagreements over the proposed VAT increase, tested the GNU, but it came out united.
It is far too early to sound the drums of victory. Millions of our people still wake up to the harsh realities, including of poverty, unemployment, the rising cost of living, corruption and gender-based violence and femicide. These are lived experiences that demand our urgent and steadfast intervention.
Mashatile has also called on men to take the lead in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide as the 16 days of activism draws to a close. The deputy president, who also chairs the Presidential Water Task Team, says 15,000 water professionals will be trained and deployed by 2030 to improve technical capacity.
The failure of our municipal water and sanitation systems poses the most immediate threat to human health and dignity.
Ulilani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.
The Africa Media Awards is taking place in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, tonight. It is a moment to celebrate and honor journalists, media innovators, and communication professionals from across the continent. Cutting-edge producer Njabulo Shabangu has won the Africa Media Award in the category of Outstanding Current Affairs Program.
Storytelling is an integral part of African culture. It's how our history is passed on from generation to generation. Our names themselves tell stories of our forebearers. It is also the way we preserve memory, the way we pass on wisdom, and most importantly, the way we learn about each other across villages, towns, and cities and borders. Therefore, esteemed guests, the African Media Awards give us something sacred, a continental campfire around which we gather to tell the truest stories of our time, stories of courage in the face of silence, stories that remind us that Africa is a story of a billion voices rising together. Tonight's award does not only belong to me, it belongs to every producer who has stayed up in the night chasing a lead, to every cameraman who walked into danger so that the world could see, to every editor who refused to kill a story that needed to be told, and every whistleblower who trusted us with their truth.
It is now time for us to take a look at the day's market activity as recorded at 7:30 this evening. Let's take a look at your sports update. The two-time and defending World Cup champions, South Africa, have embraced any and all permutations that the draw for the 2027 Rugby World Cup has thrown. Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus and captain Siya Kolisi both stress that the eventual champion must be able to beat any team at any stage of the tournament. Erasmus and Kolisi were responding to the prospects of facing New Zealand in the quarterfinals of the tournament in Australia in 2 years' time.
World Cup draw has created the very real possibility of a Springbok All Blacks showdown in the quarterfinals. Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus says he is preparing a World Cup squad that can face the best in the world at any stage of the tournament.
I think Italy is going to be tough. And then who do you play in the round of 16? I don't know, can it be Tonga? We'll see how things develop. And then you might hit New Zealand.
Springbok captain Siya Kolisi adopted the same attitude as his coach, underlining that the eventual champions have to beat all comers.
Italy is a good team that we have to dig deep and fight for to play against, and I think it doesn't matter who you play when. At the end of the day, you have to beat everybody to win the World Cup.
Erasmus, meanwhile, has vowed to keep working towards the 2027 World Cup and prepare a team that can cope with whatever gets thrown their way. Simon Burke, SABC News.
It is now time for us to see what is happening under our southern skies. Our weather team has all the details. New forecast is up next.
Good evening and welcome. Let's take a look at what to expect weather-wise for tonight as well as tomorrow. Clear skies over the western as well as the southern parts of the country. However, we do expect fog patches along the southeastern and eastern escarpment. Isolated showers and thunder showers forecast over the northern and northeastern as well as the eastern parts of the country this evening, scattered mainly over the western parts of the northwest into the extreme northeastern parts of the Northern Cape. Tomorrow, starting off with early morning fog patches in places over the western, southern, southeastern, as well as the northeastern parts of the country. Isolated showers and rain forecast along the southern coastline and the adjacent interior. And then isolated showers and thunder showers over the northern, central, eastern, as well as the southeastern parts of the country. Scattered in places over Lesotho, into the interior of KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, southern parts of Gauteng, the Free State, the northwest, and the extreme northeastern parts of the Northern Cape. Now, for this evening, South African Weather Service has issued a yellow level 1 warning for severe thunderstorms over the western parts of the northwest into the northeastern parts of the Northern Cape. Tomorrow, becoming a yellow level 2 warning, including the Free State and the extreme northeastern parts of the Eastern Cape. Those storms possibly resulting in heavy downpours of rain, strong damaging winds, large amounts of small hail or excessive lightning. High fire danger conditions in places over the Northern Cape and the northwestern parts of the Western Cape. Now, overnight temperatures seeing Dar down to 13, 14 in Gqeberha, 15 is your overnight low in George. Tomorrow peaking at 23. It will be a warm day in Bethlehem as well as in Johannesburg with 25. Very hot in Appleton with a maximum of 39. That's your weather. To stay tuned.
And that is how we wrap up this evening. Thank you for tuning in. Please note that Prime News on 3 will not air tomorrow due to the FIFA 2026 World Cup draw. We are back with you again next week. And until then, for myself, Becky, and the team, stay ahead and good night.